Hi, welcome to College Focus, program designed to tell you about St. Clair College, its programs, and the people that work here. I'm Owen Klein, your host. And if you looked at the credits tonight, you saw a lot of pictures of a lot of campuses, and one of them is down on Janette Avenue. And we have with us tonight the manager of that campus, who's going to tell us about what's going on down there, Carol Libby. Carol, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Owen. Nice to be here.
Good, good. You're down there on Janette Avenue. You've been with the college a little while, though, haven't you?
A long time, 1974. Remember when I taught here then?
1974. There wasn't any 1974. Everything started in 1980. Okay. Yeah, I remember. So now you're down at Janette. You're working with programs for unemployed youth.
That's right.
And how's it going?
Well, right now it's a major challenge with the economy as it is today, all the plant closures that we've been having in the community. We are very, very busy. Lots of young people looking for work and needing help in selecting appropriate jobs for themselves.
Where do you start with one of these young people? They must come to you from every walk of life, every possible position or condition or situation.
Well, you try to start with where the young person is. What are their interests? What are their skills? What is their level of education? What kind of work experience do they have? And for most of them, they don't have work experience. That's a major barrier to employment for young people, and certainly young people that didn't graduate from high school have even more barriers. So you start with who are you, where are you right now, what are you interested in, what are your skills, what are your hobbies, what have you been good at in your schoolwork and in your interests, and to try and translate that into generic work skills. And also, you spend some time building self-confidence with these young people. They're often lacking in confidence. They may have conducted a job search and not found a job, and they're perhaps...
Okay. Some people are watching, they're going to ask, all right, now wait a minute. We've got high schools, and we've got the college, and we've got the University of Windsor, and we've got some apprentice programs. Where do you fit in? Who are you? Where are you getting these students? Why aren't they taking one of the other routes?
And we would like to see more of them doing that, and we do try to point them in that direction. But especially young people who have dropped out of high school, right now they're not interested in going back to school. And they may explore that option, but that's not an option they want for themselves right now.
So you try to be a school that's not a school?
You could say that, yes. We do have a...
I did, I said that. You could be a school.
And you did say that.
I did say that.
And we
yeah,
do have such a thing. It's called a Futures Pre-Employment Preparation Program. It happens in a classroom, or at least in rooms in our building. And those people have a chance to build some life skills and build some career plans and explore the world of work. And they get paid $125 a week while they're doing that if they qualify. And they're usually people with a fair number of barriers to employment, keeping them from finding jobs. So that is it's not a school, but it's
okay, they get paid. Who pays them?
They get paid. The Ministry of Education.
Ministry of Education pays them, so why isn't there a line outside your door?
There is.
There is a line outside your door. Are they just for
Some
the checks,
days,
or do they really want the training?
Well, some people say that it's sometimes cheaper to induce people to enter the training and change some of the attitudes, and sometimes it takes that incentive to get people to consider changing their fears of employment or their sense of what they might do. Some of them do come just for the money, and our job is to, hey, we all work for money, right?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think we ought to be cynical.
No, but
it is.
It is
just for the money. But
yeah.
I do think that it's important that you are able to see your success stories too. And jumping ahead just a little bit, I know we're going to get to that later. But what are some of your success stories from that point, from the entry to the exit?
Well, we have about 70% success rate with our high school graduates. People who use the program to get their first job tend to continue to be employed after the Futures program gets them assistance in getting their first job. With the so-called disadvantaged client, the client that didn't graduate from high school, we have around a 50% success rate. So it's a little tougher for some of those people to keep a job.
You've mentioned employers. You've used that term a couple times, obviously. Who do you work with?
In terms of employers?
Yeah, and where do you find them?
Well, we try to get employers who will give our people an opportunity to get some good training, some basic entry-level training. And we have employers from mostly small businesses. You're going to meet later in this program one of our very good employers who's given some work experience to one of our clients, actually to more than one of our clients. We have work in the auto repair industry, we have a lot of clerical work, we have retail work, we have some dry cleaning work, we have some computer assisting work,
Okay,
computer
well, let me
assembly
interrupt
work.
here. I'll give you a tough question. We've known one another a little while. You got to expect some tough questions. I'm an employer. You've come to me and said you've got to work with these kids. I've got some young people who you're going to help to train. And I say, I don't have time to train them. Why do you want me to train them? You train them and then send them to me. I've got a product to produce, or I've got clients to serve. Now, you've got a selling job here, don't you?
Yep, yep. We're willing to pay the salary for you, Mr. Klein.
Thank you very much. Starts
But,
tomorrow.
on condition that you will provide training, and we understand that it will take your time and energy. You're giving something back to this community by training this young person.
Do I have to have a program for you, show you what training I'm going to give them?
We have to agree on a training plan that you will provide for this young
Are you
person.
going to monitor it?
Oh, I sure am.
Okay, you or some of your staff?
Our staff will be monitoring. We'll be out here to your place of employment to talk to you and to see how the client is progressing on their training.
Well, who are some of your staff and where do they come from?
Well, they come from the college or from the community. If they, we may have recruited some of our people from the college and some of the people from the community. And you'll be meeting a couple of them this evening.
Okay, I'll talk to them about their skills, but what do you see as their primary skills? What do you see as the real addition each one brings to the program?
Well, I think they all have a primary concern to help young people, and a commitment and an understanding of their needs and the things they are facing. A lot of them are facing problems finding affordable housing, are alienated from their families, in addition to not having work skills and work experience or even having a high school diploma. So we have some staff who are trained social workers, and we have staff who are trained as placement consultants who deal with the workplace monitoring.
So that's a very heavy load that some of these young people are carrying. They're alienated from home, they don't have a job, they've come to you. There's heavy-duty counseling skills.
Well, you have to have some good intervention skills, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
give me an example.
Well, I suppose one of the key examples is for many of these young people, I would like, some of them would like to get other people to take responsibility for their problems, and a key talent is to return that responsibility to that young person. You are responsible for yourself is a major life task for these young people. Negotiating a contract with them, here's what we, St. Clair College, can do for you in the Futures program, and here's what we would expect of you in order for us to help you find work through Futures. So to gain a commitment from them, to engage in a process to work toward their own success. And some of them have found ways to get other people to do the work for them or to blame the system, and they have good reason sometimes to blame other people. So a major challenge for our staff is to start getting that responsibility. It's a shared responsibility at first.
How long would a student be at the Janette campus?
Well, it would depend on their level of need. If a person was, you could say, severely disadvantaged with lots of barriers, maybe having come out of an alcohol treatment program, or maybe having come out of prison, or maybe having come out of a troubled family situation and not having a high school diploma, they might spend up to 16 weeks in our in-class pre-employment program. And then they would have the opportunity for work experience under Futures for up to 1 year if they agree to continue their education.
And with this, you're running overall over 50–60% success rate.
Yeah, for the severely disadvantaged.
Well, that's great. We've got a couple of seconds. Is there anything I haven't asked that you'd like to add about all of this?
I think you've asked
There's
a lot.
a ton of things. But,
Yes, yes. Well, I guess what I would add is that we need good employers for these young people.
And they should get in touch with you at the center, and you're in the phone book.
Correct.
Carol, thank you very much. And a
Thank
little
you,
later
Ron.
in the show, we will be talking to one of your teachers and an employer, and thanks again for coming on. We'll be right back with you in a moment.
Aw, come on.
Yeah, what do you mean they're released too early?
Everybody knows the prisons are overcrowded, and that's why they're forced back out into society.
But that's where St. Leonard's House comes in.
St. Leonard's House is an effective alternative to imprisonment. A person lives within the community where he receives professional counseling, job placement services, and the skills to become an independent and productive citizen.
It's one way to prove that they're useful to the community to people who won't let them.
Yeah, like you.
St. Leonard's House, 25 years of better tomorrows.
Hi, we're back, and we're lucky enough to have with us Linda Plant. Linda is a youth employment counselor at the Youth Employment Center down on Janette Avenue, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the unemployment cycle, what they do to break it. Linda, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Anybody you want to say hello to? Keep it to immediate relatives. We only have 10
that's
minutes.
just fine. I will not say hello.
You won't say hello to all those people.
No.
Okay. Just what do you do? Before you get started here, what are your duties down at the center?
Well, I'm a counselor at the center, and as a counselor, I'm to help access the program to disadvantaged youth, as well as youth who are coming in just to prepare themselves for a job search.
How long have you been there?
I've been there since around September '84.
September '84. The center's been in a few different places since then,
Yes,
hasn't it?
we've done some moving because of the program and how quickly it's growing.
Are the present quarters suitable from your point of view, or are they in touch?
No, not really. I think we need to move again. I think the building's getting a little small, but it's accommodating.
Now, is that good news or bad news? The building's getting a little small.
It's good news in a sense. It shows that the program is vibrant and we're doing good things. It's bad news in the instance where there's a lot of young youth out there unemployed.
Okay, and so what were you going to show us tonight? You brought some material. We've set up the board here. You wanted to tell us a little bit?
I thought maybe I would draw the unemployment cycle to give you a better idea as to how we explain to our young people the situation they're in.
Love it. Here. It's all yours. Can I ask a few questions as you're going along?
Sure, I will.
All right, well, get a start there.
Of course, we have the unemployment cycle.
Is this chronic or just regular?
Well, I don't know what you mean by chronic and just...
Is this somebody who's just been laid off? Or
Well, the unemployment cycle is generally someone who's out in a job search and come through different phases of their job search.
Okay, you're going to show me the phases.
So,
I won't interrupt.
We usually start with you. This is the first phase, the unemployed person. And of course, as the unemployed person, you're anxious to find work. That unemployment leads a person to actually the very first part of the phase, which is called the traditional job search. When one is in a traditional job search, one does whatever they can to find a job, and that might mean using the newspaper for ads. They may also, of course, through friends and family, ask if they know of anybody who is hiring. And also under the traditional job search, you'll find people will look towards pounding the pavement. We like to call it pounding the pavement. That's going from place to place, looking for jobs, going and watching in the windows and seeing if there's any card saying employment, someone's looking for someone. Another way of finding a job is through the Canada Employment Center, of course, or other personnel services that are out there. Once when one does the traditional job search and they feel all the right things in finding a job and they still haven't found a job, they get what you call the pressure syndrome. And the pressure syndrome is when you have all this extra help out there. You have your parents, for instance. You have parents. Of course, if you're living at home, the pressure is...
You say help.
Yes.
Are they helping?
Well, not really, because in your best interest they're trying to help. But parents can pressure you sometimes in thinking that what you have already done in a traditional job search is not good enough. You need to do something more. So you have parents saying, well, come on now, we can't keep you much more. Get out there, and have you done this and have you done that? You also have your creditors if you're in debt, you know, bugging you to pay the bills. And then if you have your own apartment, of course the landlord is there pressuring you. You know, I want my rent. And that's more pressure that's building on you. And then of course you have the help of your friends and acquaintances who are saying, well, you know, we're going out tonight, you want to come, and the pressure is that you can't go, of course, you have no job. So you're getting all this pressure.
You probably owe them all $5 anyhow.
Yeah, you probably owe them a whole lot of money by this time, because if you've done all that, that takes time. From, of course, the pressure syndrome, one walks into the phase of the rejection shock. And rejection shock, what we mean by that is that by this time you've had a lot of doors slam in your face. You've filled out a lot of applications. You might have went to a lot of interviews, and up to now no one has given you an opportunity. You're getting no callbacks, and you're feeling really rejected in the system of looking for jobs.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay.
So the rejection, again, leads us up here to what we call the victim syndrome. Now you're a victim of circumstances you feel. One becomes very depressed, despair.
Is that legitimate? Are you a victim?
I think in some situations, because of the economy, the high employment rate, one can be a victim. One does not have a lot of education. An individual may not have a lot of work experience because of the lack of education. And yeah, one becomes a victim. So they say, why me? Why, with all my friends who are finding jobs, why am I not getting hired? And one becomes feeling worthless. They're looking at the situation on a personal level rather than the circumstances of the situation of the economy.
Then what do they do?
Well, then after they feel like they're the victim, of course, like most of us in the situations where we feel we can't win, we just avoid that type of thing again. We just avoid job searching. We say, forget it, I can't win. The stats are saying that unemployment rate is so high. Everyone's saying that you need a grade 12 for a job. So what's the sense? And so we go right back to the unemployed person. And this cycle can go over and over and over again. What happens at the Youth Employment Counseling Center is that we can help break that cycle right at the beginning of you being unemployed in your job search by providing for you what we call the 4-day job search. In the 4-day job search workshop, we have a very competent leader in that workshop who helps you gain those necessary tools for job search. She teaches you skills, she teaches you what your qualities have been and what you have learned in the past. She helps you in various ways to build a good job search. She shows you how and where to look for a job. It builds self-esteem for that individual. And so now that individual, by the time the 4-day workshop is over, they feel a little bit more confident.
Can I get into that before I go through all the rest of this? Pressure and rejection
Most
victim?
definitely. And we're hoping that the 4-day workshop will put you in a position where you're one step ahead of the competition.
How do I get to it?
Well, the 4-day workshop is at our center. We have an intake procedure at Youth Employment Counseling Center where one would have to first come and fill out an application form, and then after filling out an application form, set up an appointment, come to talk to a counselor.
I'm sure you're proud of your successes. What is your success rate here?
Well, our success rate is I couldn't quote any figures because I'm not sure, but I would say personally, through the statistics that we carry at the center, the success rate is very high. We have a lot of young people who, when they finish the workshop, return back to counseling, and they're just overjoyed over how much they've learned.
Surely this must be the same for older people too.
Yes, this is a cycle that everyone would probably go through. Of course, I think even ourselves at one time or another have been unemployed, and we can identify with this.
But your mandate is to work with the youth?
With the youth between the ages of 16 and 24, and 25 depending on the disadvantage.
Let's look at the downside. Are there any that just drop out, that just say, oh, that's it, can't handle it?
Definitely, and they're in a point where they're in total avoidance, total denial, living maybe off the system, not living off the system, maybe just living on the streets.
Okay, and you try to advertise to get to them through their friends? Or?
Yes, well, a lot of our young people are quite satisfied when they leave the center, and it's usually word of mouth. Of course, we have some fee-for-service situations with other agencies in the community, and so we get some clients that way.
Well, that's great, and good luck with this in the future. I'd like to thank you very much for being on.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you again.
Thank you very much.
Be back with you in a moment.
me tell you about my best friend.
He's a warm-hearted person.
He's my pride and joy.
He's so much fun. He's my best friend. He's my big brother.
For more information on how to be a big brother, contact the Windsor and Essex County Big Brothers at 256-2311.
Welcome back. This is the last segment of our show tonight on the Futures program on our Janette Avenue campus. And on the set with me right now, Judy Van Roy, member of the support staff at Janette, and Mara Conrad. And Mara, it says here, you are with the Ministry of the Attorney General, Ontario Court Provincial Division, and your job title is Court Administrator and Clerk of the Court. Now, having said all that, that's exactly what it is you do.
Well, I work in courts administration, and one of the functions of my position is to staff the courts accordingly.
Okay, and our students have been working with you?
Directly involved, yes.
Judy, how do they get there?
Mostly through our placement consultants who work very hard to try and match them with a job they're interested in, with an employer as well who would be willing to train them.
And is Mara one of our better employers?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
How is that, Mara, that you're one of our better employers?
Well, I have to give the credit to the staff. They're very, very open-minded about the program, and they're very participative. And we've had many, many successful students in our office, and I think one of the attributes is their commitment and the dedication.
Well, how long have you been using members of our Futures program on internships and training programs?
I would say about 3 to 4 years.
That's a long time. You've had quite a few go through there. Any interesting stories?
We've had several very, very successful stories. We've had one student that is now employed with the Attorney General's office in a court office environment. Another who completed her program with us and went on to university. So there was enough motivation and drive behind them to
What kind of jobs would they do?
Oh, you name it. Everything from clerical work to computer work to direct involvement with customer service. They have had experience in handling cash monies. And,
collecting fines?
Collecting fines.
Collecting fines.
Yeah. We've had students involved in marriage preparation work, where they prepare the documentation and they ensure the parties sign in the right spot and kind of orchestrate the marriage for the couple. It's really neat.
Yeah.
And they get to be a witness from time to time.
Are these quickie marriages that just happen to come to the door?
No, they're by appointment, I'm afraid.
Do they go through the center too, Judy?
Pardon me? The
No.
marriages, no.
No, they don't.
No.
Okay, we're just talking about the employees here.
But we do offer a wide array of experiences. It just depends where their interests lay. We try to tap into their talents to give them the best experience possible.
Now, these experiences would seem to be applicable in other areas. How about that, Judy? Can they use these skills in other places?
Absolutely. In some situations, an employer is not always able to hire a client after their training is finished, but we would hope that they would have gained some marketable skills and can therefore achieve another job on their own.
You mentioned some of their strengths. You said there's a strength of commitment that these students have, Mara.
Definitely.
What are some of the other
Well,
attributes?
I can just see where they have a will and a desire to do better or to, reach their goal in life, and that is to gain employment. And their hearts are certainly in the task. It's more than that, though. It's a real partnership from my point of view, from where I sit.
We were talking earlier, and you mentioned that there were some students who had language skills that they had to still develop. They hadn't been in Canada for very long.
Yes, we've had students from foreign countries who have come on board and have been working very hard to upgrade their language skills, and we learn a lot from those students. It really helps to diverse the workforce, and we are committed to equality, opportunity, and this is where we really do appreciate the program, because it helps us to diverse our workforce, and it really helps to foster a very, very healthy work environment.
The thrust of our show tonight has been employment, improving employment situations. We looked at an employment cycle, an unemployment cycle rather, and what happens there. What would you say to other employers about our programming? You've worked with these students now. What
4 years.
What would you have to say to other employers who perhaps haven't tried it?
Well, I would suggest they certainly get in touch with one of the either social workers or one of the placement officers at the program and tell them what kind of skills and business that they're in, what they may have to offer. And I think once you make the first approach, then everything falls into place. They kind of keep you on a list, and I've been very, very fortunate that way. Futures has been very, very considerate of us, and we of they. It, as I mentioned, has been a partnership, and for me it has been a win-win program.
Well, great. Judy, if someone does get in touch with you, do you send them literature, or what happens from that point?
Yes, normally we send them an application, and along with it we include an information package. They then return it to us, and we get back in touch with them.
Okay, and then from there on in, it's the kind of thing that we hope would develop along the lines of what you've had.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any last story that you want to tell? Anything that kind of puts another viewpoint on all of this, working with these students?
Well, we're really committed in our establishment to personal growth and development. Like, training is really important, and we do take the time and hope to develop those, personal attributes in the students so that they can be successful in their futures. And
you don't mind putting in the time to do the training?
Not
Doesn't
at all.
interfere with your personal job? It's nothing
It's not me personally. It's the staff that I owe, our success to. They're very, very excellent with the students. I can't say to the lesser, because they are very, very giving and caring. And
well, that's an excellent closing message, and we hope that those of you out there who are interested in our students and the employment programs will get in touch with us. That's our show for today. Thanks for watching. See you next week.